After teasing us for weeks with trailers showing off the Pixel 8 series, Google is now ready to give us all the details about its latest flagships. Announced during the company's Made by Google event on Wednesday, the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro look largely the same as their predecessors, with a couple of key differences. The regular Pixel 8 is slightly smaller, which makes it easier to use with one hand. Meanwhile, the Pro model has a new matte finish, upgraded cameras, and an integrating temperature sensor. Across the Pixel 8 series, we are also getting the company's Tensor G3 processor, assistant improvements, and notably 7 whole years of Android and security updates. So you might actually be able to hang on to your Pixel flagship for a lot longer than before. Now we will just have to wait and see if the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro do enough for you to want to keep them around for years to come. It's worth noting upfront that though it's smaller than before, the standard Pixel 8 starts at $699, which is $100 more than its predecessor. That seems a little counterintuitive, but the slightly smaller display actually refreshes at up to 120Hz now, which is better than the 90Hz last year. Meanwhile, the Pixel 8 Pro cost $999, another $100 increase over the Pixel 7 Pro. You can find a slew of pre-orders offers from Google and most carriers to sweeten the deal. I have long held the Pixel phones have the best smartphone cameras, but with companies like Apple and Samsung making great strides in their flagships recently, Google's lead is shrinking. The company was late to shift to multi-sensor setups, relying heavily on its software prowess to make up for lacking hardware in the past. In recent generations, we have seen a more balanced approach, with Google introducing slightly sharper cameras while continuing to update its algorithms to boost clarity and color. With the Pixel 8 series, we are seeing more of this two-pronged strategy. The Pixel 8 Pro is getting a sharper 48MP ultra-wide camera, while the telephoto system's 48MP sensor is using a lens with an improved f2.8 aperture but slightly wider field of view than last year. Its primary camera has the same 50MP setup as before, though Google says its f1.68 lens has 2x optical quality compared to last year's f1.85 glass. Meanwhile, the standard Pixel 8's main camera is the same as the Pixel 8 Pro's, which is slightly better than the Pixel 7. Its one other rear sensor is also pretty much identical to the last generations. The hardware might be a small upgrade, but the more significant changes lies in the software. Google has redesigned its camera app to make manual controls easier to reach. With the new layout, there are two buttons at the bottom that let you switch between photo and video capture. That's a little more organized, given that Pixels offer different modes like action for adding motion blur to your shots. This redesign also enabled Google to throw in a Pro mode, giving you manual control over settings labeled as brightness, shadow, white balance, as well as capturing stills at the full resolution of 50MP. You will have to go into setting to switch on manual mode, and doing it will turn off the auto lens switching feature. I discovered this feature I was using the Pixel 8 Pro to get super up close with a flower at the demo space, so I could check out the improved macro focus. But because I had activated manual mode, the lens wasn't changing on its own when I pushed the device into the pedals. With its sharper ultra-wide sensor, the Pixel 8 Pro can get even closer to subjects and still keep focus. This year's Pro model will work up to 2 cm away, while the standard Pixel 8 gets macro support for the first time, has the same capability as the Pixel 7 Pro. That means it can get as close as 3 cm. I didn't break out a ruler to see how far away the cameras were from the flowers I was shooting, but I was impressed by how much detail in the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pros managed to capture. I'd love to pit Google's flagships against Apple's and Samsung's in the real world to say if it's better than the competition, but at least from my hands-on, it seemed effective and fast. I also checked out the Pixel 8 Pro's 5x telephoto system by zooming into items at a breakfast buffet about 15 feet away, and was able to read words on the cards, identifying the types of milk available. Again, I can't say how well this compares to Samsung's Space Zoom or the iPhone 15 Pro Max yet.